Okay, all right. So here we're ready to go. So Chef Spencer actually gave you guys some oil in a container, and she gave you some white wine vinegar, and she gave you some mustard, and she also gave you some eggs. So we'll go ahead and use those to make the to make the mayonnaise first. What I like to do is I like to get like a towel like this, and I'll go run it into under some water and make it a little wet. All right, so I got my towel and it's a little wet now. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make it into a like a rope almost. And I actually like to wrap. I put it on the table, and then I'll actually place my bowl inside that so it won't move around. Everybody see me? Everybody can see that? All right, then I have a wire whisk.
Yes, sir.
For making the emulsification, I need to have a wire whisk. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start. You can wear gloves, or if you don't want to, I'm just gonna make this for myself, right? So I'm not gonna wear any gloves, and I'm gonna just go ahead and crack the egg. And once I crack the egg, I'm gonna just open it very carefully over the bowl like this, and then I'm going to tip the egg white into the bowl like that. All right, everybody there, and then I'm gonna hold on to my yolk real quick, and then I'm gonna save my white. Right, I'm just gonna save my white over here. So I saved my white. Now I'm going to take my yolk. I'm going to put my yolk in the bowl. All right. Now I'm going to add a tiny bit of water because this is the key. All right. We're going to talk a little bit about this in a second. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little bit of water. So I'm going to fill up about half of that eggshell full of water. And I'm going to add that. Okay. Just like that. It's about a half a tablespoon. All right. Is what I'm adding. So if you want to go ahead and measure it, you can. All right. And then I'm going to go ahead and grab a good 3-finger pinch of salt. So I have my salt here. I'm just going to grab a good 3-finger pinch of salt. I'm going to add that right to the bowl. All right. Now here's the key. I actually remember making this for the first time. Again, I went to culinary school when I was still in high school, and then I went to the Culinary Institute of America afterwards. Anyway, so when I got to the Culinary Institute of America, I asked Chef DeShetler, I said, Chef DeShetler, why is it that sometimes my mayonnaise comes out and sometimes it breaks? You know, and he said, well, you must know the key, right? And what he told me about the key is that you must add water. And he said, because water conducts electricity. And I said, what? Why? What are you talking about? Electricity? Electricity? What are you talking about? He goes, it's about the science, right? So what you have is you have ions, right? You have the oil, which is your positively electrically charged ions. And you have your vinegar, which is the negatively electrically charged ions. And what you want to do is you want to change because if you put the two together, they're not going to want to go together, right? You change the polarity of the oil droplet at a time, and then it'll flip the polarity, and then they'll stick. Just like two magnets, you try to put two magnets together, they won't go together. But if you change the polarity and you have two positives coming together, boom, they'll stick together, right? They'll stick together. So that's the key, right? So what I want to do is I want to do that. I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit of emulsifying agent, and that is to add a tiny bit of, right? It's about a quarter teaspoon of mustard powder. I'm going to go ahead and add that. And again, that's going to help me with my emulsification process. And then what I want to do is I just want to mix it up until it gets a little bit foamy. A little bit foamy. So my water is going to help me conduct electricity, and my salt. So I want to make sure I have my water and my salt in the bowl with my mustard and my eggs. If you do this and you know this key, you won't ever break your mayonnaise ever, okay? So then I'm gonna go ahead and mix it until it gets foamy. Then what I'm gonna do is I'm going to open up my oil, and I'm just using a regular salad oil today. I'm not adding any of my vinegar or any of my, you can actually add lemon juice for mayonnaise as well. But what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna add that. Okay, I have my another towel, there we go, another towel here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to add 1 drop of oil, just 1 drop, just one little tiny little drop, right? And then I'm going to mix for about 30 seconds. All right, sing happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. And what that does is it starts the emulsification process. So now every time I add a droplet of oil through that agitation process, because of the conductive electricity of the water, it's going to change the polarity and stick. Change the polarity and stick. Each droplet is going to hit there, and it's immediately going to stick. So this way, you'll never ever break your hollandaise, never break your mayonnaise, never break your vinaigrette, never break anything ever as long as you live, as long as you use that key, right? A little bit of water, a little bit of salt, and add a drop and sing happy birthday, right? That's it. Now you can go ahead and add your oil in a slow, steady stream. You want to make sure you agitate really, really well. And you're adding it in a slow, steady stream. Slow, steady stream. Slow, steady stream, right? Adding it in a slow, steady stream and making sure that I have my bowl. All right, there we go. Slow, steady stream, right? All right, so everybody's going to make their mayonnaise and then you're going to take a picture of it. What I would do is also is, Chef Spence said, take a picture of your mise en place first before you start. So upload multiple pictures. Upload a picture of your mise en place, then upload a picture of your finalized mayonnaise. This way, she'll know that you didn't open up a jar of Hellmann's or Best Foods or whatever and are trying to submit that as your, right? Everyone's like, we would never do that. So I'm adding a little bit of oil. Okay, remember, this is 6 to 8 ounces of oil to what? To 1 egg yolk. Because I add a little bit of water, it's going to be a tiny bit thinner. So I'm going to add maybe a tiny bit more oil, right? Now you can use different types of oils as well. You can add vegetable oil, you can add olive oil, you can add a combination of vegetable oil and olive oil. You can add maybe add a little bit of walnut oil or some sort of nut oil. You can add avocado oil, any different type of oil you can add to change the flavor of your mayonnaise and make a specialty mayonnaise, right? Make a specialty mayonnaise. So I'm continuing to add my, now am I getting tired? Nah, not really. Just relax and mix, right? Relax and mix, relax and mix, relax and mix. So notice how everything's coming together with a beautiful emulsification. Again, you'll be able to see it better on YouTube because of the camera is closer later on when I upload it. I'm so glad I was able to do Chef Spence's class today because I haven't taught in a while and I kind of miss it. I miss you guys. All right, so you can see how as we're adding the oil, it comes together into a beautiful emulsified vinaigrette. All right, so you can see how it comes together in a beautiful emulsified vinaigrette. Now, let me go ahead and because of the fact that, again, I added a little bit of that water in the beginning, so it's a little bit thinner. And how do I make it thicker? Anybody? Nobody remembers from the lecture? Nope. You make it thicker by adding more oil. Adding more oil. So I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit more oil. Wow, wait a second, Chef. Really? You're going to add more oil? Oil's liquid. You're going to add more oil and it's going to get thicker? Yes. Okay, isn't that funny? Yes. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and add more oil and it's going to get thicker as I add more oil.
Did you already add the vinegar?
I didn't add the vinegar yet. I'm waiting until I get to the right consistency. Then I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit of vinegar in there just for a little bit of flavor and a little bit of acid, right? Pardon me?
Does it matter if it's not the same oil? So for instance, like she gave us a salad oil and I don't have salad oil anymore.
Oh yeah, you can go ahead and add a little bit of olive oil or add a little bit of whatever kind of oil you want to make it. It's fine. She only gave you 6 to 8 ounces, huh? All right, so now I have almost like stiff peaks. It's almost like pastry cream, right? You can actually just make it with we're showing them up here. All right, everybody can see it's kind of like pastry cream now. You want it thicker? Let's go ahead and make it a little thicker. And then I'm going to add a little bit of vinegar too. I'm going to actually make it a little bit even thicker than that. We're going to make it like stiff peaks almost. Stiff peaks almost, right? You guys don't have to make it this thick. I'm just continuing just so you guys can see that as you add more oil, it gets thicker. It even gets harder to mix at this point. And again, once you get to the other classes, we're going to actually teach you like you would make it out in the industry. And again, you're not going to pay, I'm not going to pay somebody like 25 bucks an hour to make mayonnaise by hand. You'll probably end up using a stand-up mixer and or something like that, right? So you're probably only going to, but it's really important to learn in 111, your orientation class. It's really important to learn how to make it by hand because this way you have a good feel for it, right? you have a good feel for it. So, all right, I'm gonna go ahead and add about just about it.
If we were to do it in a stand mixer, what speed will we use?
Oh, you want to use as fast as possible. Agitation as fast as possible, right? Go super fast. I'm going to add 1 tablespoon of the vinegar. Mix it up. All right, and then I'm going to show you how thick that is. Look at how thick that is. I mean, it's so thick that it's hanging onto the spoon, even turning it upside down, right? You can see how I'm turning it upside down. Now you can put this on your roast beef sandwich or whatever, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and I'll go ahead and get a small container on that. And the reason why is because I want to show you how to make the vinaigrette. You know what? I'll actually just grab another bowl. That's fine. I have a plastic bowl here. Any other questions on the mayo? I want to go fast because people don't want to watch huge long videos on YouTube, so that's why we're going really fast, all right? Okay, so now if I wanted to make a vinaigrette, what I want to do is, again, you can change the flavors of your vinaigrette. I'm going to go ahead and, it's almost the same exact thing. I'm going to take 1 egg, and I'm going to use that as my emulsifying agent. And I'm going to just take that 1 yolk, all right? And I'm saving the egg white for something else, maybe an egg white omelet or something. I'm putting that in there. I'm going to add a tiny bit of water to it, right? Just like that. And then at this point, I can go ahead and add a little bit of vinegar. I'm going to make a balsamic vinaigrette. So I have all different types of vinegars here. I have a pear-infused balsamic or a pear-infused white balsamic. Here I have a raspberry balsamic. Here I have this is an aged balsamic. Here, this is a rice wine vinegar if you're doing like an Asian vinaigrette or an Asian salad. I have some red wine vinegar from Italy here. And then I have different oils. I have just a regular distilled vinegar. I have an apple cider vinegar over here. And then I have different oils, right? So I have this is my infused oil I have in my garden outside. I have all of these chilies growing. So I have see all these different chilies. So again, we're adding chilies to the oil bottle, and then I just add some olive oil to it, and then I make spicy chili oil. So you can go ahead and use that. If you wanted to, you can take some orange and take some, I like to take my orange peels and just dry them out, and then I can make orange oil out of the orange peel. Again, you can do anything you want. Again, you are the chef, so you want to make sure that you use it in your imagination, right? So if you can imagine it, boy, you can make it amazing, right? So, all right, so I add a little bit of water. I'm going to go ahead and make just a basic red wine vinaigrette. So I'm going to go ahead and add about what? About a 1/4 cup of red wine vinegar. I'm going to make 1 cup, so 1/4 cup of red wine vinegar, and then we're going to make 3/4 of a cup of oil, right? 3/4 of a cup of oil. Make 1 cup of vinaigrette. And I'm going to use a little bit of the extra virgin olive oil here. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and just, this is about 3/4 of a cup of oil. All right, okay, there we go. Now I'm going to add my salt. Remember, my salt, about 3 finger pinch of salt here. And I may do 2 of them. And then I'm also going to add a little bit of the mustard powder, right? And again, wow, it looks like I'm making mayonnaise, right? But this time it's going to be a lot thinner because I added the vinegar, right? So I go ahead and add that. And then I mix it up. I'm not even going to wash my whisk because it doesn't matter. It's all the same ingredients, right? And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to add my oil in a slow, steady stream. Just like I just did earlier. And I'm going to make a permanent emulsified vinaigrette. Permanent emulsified vinaigrette. So basically it's the same procedure as making mayonnaise. If you learn how to make mayonnaise, you've just increased your recipe, your repertoire of recipes that you can do in the kitchen with vinaigrettes. You can make Asian vinaigrette, you can make an Italian vinaigrette, you can make a garlic vinaigrette, you can make a tarragon vinaigrette, you can make a basil vinaigrette. I feel like that guy from from the Bubba Gump Shrimp Company. What was that? What was the name of that movie? No. What was it? Wasn't it The World According to Gump? Something like that?
Forrest Gump.
Oh, Forrest Gump, right. Forrest Gump, right. Okay, so my vinaigrette's working out really good now. And again, you want to get a piece of lettuce leaf in order to taste it, right?
On the,
What's that?
is
of any heat, or is it like
No heat, no heat. There's no heat. No heat for vinaigrette. Everything is cold. Or everything is just room temperature, and then you throw it in the refrigerator. That's another good point. Thank you for bringing that up. So if you actually make everything at room temperature, and then you put it into the refrigerator, it's going to get slightly thicker as it goes in the fridge. All right, just FYI, it's going to get a little slightly thicker as it goes in the fridge. So, all right, let me set this down over here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to taste it, right? So what do I want to do? I want to taste that balance. The richness from the oil to the acidity of the vinegar. I want to go ahead and taste it, right? So again, the best way to taste it is to get a little lettuce leaf to put in there, right? I'm just going to use my spoon because I don't have a lettuce leaf handy. Chef Spence didn't give me any lettuce leaves. All right. Wow, that's really, really good. So I have the balance of the oil as the richness, and the vinegar is kind of a little bit sweet because it has the sweetness from the balsamic vinegar, has a little bit of twang in there as well. You get a little hint of the mustard. You don't taste the vinegar, I mean the egg at all. And because of the fact that you have the vinegar in there, it changes the pH of the whole thing so that it's safe for about 7 days, all right? Even with the raw egg in there. As long as you're not doing, wait, let me get somebody else here. As long as you're not doing, you're going to be safe for about 7 days as long as you're not feeding somebody who is, potentially has like a immunodeficiency or something like that. All right, like somebody who's old or somebody who's really super young or whatever, a compromised immune system or something like that. So go ahead and shut that.